against older Americans is overwhelming. According to the FBI, people aged 60 and older reported 4.9 billion, that's billion, stolen through fraud with an average loss of $83,000 last year, up 43% from the previous year. Elder fraud is a growing threat, and it frequently goes unreported, as the chairman said, because of the victim's fear, embarrassment, or lack of resources. New technologies like cryptocurrency ATMs pose a heightened risk for older Americans. We're considering a cryptocurrency regulation bill on the floor today. We may even vote on it today. Many of us had amendments that we wanted to offer. Unfortunately, no amendments will be allowed by any member of the Senate. No amendments. My amendments was to regulate the safety of crypto ATMs. What are crypto ATMs? They're machines you may find in a grocery store or a shop where you do business. And it looks like you can buy a Bitcoin and that's all there is to it. There's much more to the story. Crypto ATMs look like a regular ATM. You find them in gas stations, grocery stores. The big difference is that instead of depositing money with your bank, a crypto ATM allows customers to purchase cryptocurrency, something called a Bitcoin. These crypto ATMs have become a favorite tool of scammers because once a victim purchases crypto and transfers it to a criminal's digital wallet, it is virtually impossible to trace or recover. These scammers might be using technology, new technology, but they're following a very old playbook. They call their victim and pretend to be from the victim's bank, or they impersonate a government official. They may announce to the victim that they missed jury duty, and because of it, they have to pay a fine. And to avoid a trial and a fine, they go to a Bitcoin machine and deposit thousands of dollars. Sounds impossible, happens all the time. They may say the victim owes money for skipping jury duty or needs to bail a loved one out of jail. It happened to my wife. She got a call from our grandson, and she was supposed to send money quickly because he'd been in an auto accident. She called me and said, "What do you think I should do?" And I said, "Let me ask our grandson who's standing next to me whether he was in an auto accident." And the answer obviously was no. It was a scam. They tell their victims all they need to do to make the problem go away is to pay a fine or a fee using the nearest crypto ATM. The scammer walks them through every step. Put in your money, buy your crypto, send it to the scammer's wallet. Crypto ATM scams led to nearly $247 million in losses in 2024, 31% increase over the previous year. And make no mistake, the crypto ATM companies know that their machines are involved in this fraud. One crypto ATM operator, Bitcoin Depot, wrote in an SEC filing, quote, "Our products and services may be exploited to facilitate illegal activity such as fraud, money laundering, gambling, tax evasion, and scams." That is a stunning admission in their own corporate product. But it gets worse. I don't want this to be personal, but I want the chairman to know it. An investigation by Iowa's own attorney general found over 98% of the money that the people in Iowa reported sending through Bitcoin Depot was part of scam transactions. 98%. Can you imagine? Crypto ATMs aren't being exploited. They're being used as indicated and misused, obviously, over and over again. And cryptocurrency in general are also increasingly used for fraud. In 2024, the FBI reported crypto-related crimes up 66%. Americans lost $9.3 billion to crypto scammers. Nearly 150,000 complaints filed involving crypto fraud, including more than 6,000 complaints in my own home state, and more than a third of all crypto fraud complaints filed by Americans over the age of 50. Statistics alone can't paint a complete picture. In Illinois, an elderly woman with MS lost $40,000, her entire life savings. The woman could not get around very well. The scammer even called an Uber car to pick her up and drive her to the local crypto ATM. This heart-wrenching story and many more like it are the reason I introduced the Crypto ATM Fraud Prevention Act with Senators Blumenthal, Reed, and Welch. It would require crypto ATM operators to register with financial regulators, warn customers about scams, and create transaction limits so that customers won't lose their life savings. The bill also would require operators to refund new customers who've been defrauded. We've got to do more to protect the people who send us here to do this job, particularly vulnerable older Americans. For God's sake, they paid their dues. They went to work. They saved up meager savings and maybe have a little Social Security on the side, and they barely get by. To be ripped off by one of these frauds has got to be beyond embarrassing. It could be completely destructive of their lifestyle. I stand ready to work with Senator Grassley and my colleagues to address this issue. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, thank you very much. Now I'd like to introduce our witnesses. Miss April Helms, the daughter of a romance scam victim and a founding board member of a nonprofit called Advocating Against Romance Scammers. Following her mother's tragic death, Ms. Helms has dedicated her life to spreading awareness about romance scams and helping those victims. She's also host to a podcast called Scammers Stories, where she has interviewed over 100 people from all walks of life who have experienced scams. Ms. Jolene Gunther, the National Director of AARP's Bank Safe Initiative, a comprehensive intervention platform that equips the financial services industry to prevent and stop financial exploitation of older adults. In her work, she engages frontline employees at banks, credit unions, investment firms, retailers, and other providers of financial products and services. Under her guidance, AARP's Bank Safe Initiative has trained 1 in 10 financial industry frontline employees who have saved older adults more than $100 million from exploitation. Ms. Gunther holds a JD degree from University of Utah